Hi everyone, and welcome to this expert workshop where you will get a better understanding about how you can keep your substation secure by migrating and or retrofitting your protection relays, this time from SIPROTEC 4 to SIPROTEC 5 devices. Remember that this webinar has been conceived for energy automation and protection professionals, whether you work as a protection engineer, project manager, in operation and maintenance as well, whether you have some cybersecurity responsibilities on you. My name is Luis Francisco, Sales and Business Development Manager at Siemens, and today I'll be moderating and also presenting some things during this event. So together with me, I'm glad to share stage with two of our experts. The first one is Hans-Dieter Boye. Dieter graduated 4 years ago from the Georg Siemens University. Yes, remember the one from the Ohm's Law, here in Nuremberg, Germany, as communication engineer. Dieter is a high-caliber professional with deep knowledge of the art of protection relaying. Today, Dieter supports customers and partners worldwide, smartly transitioning their installed base as a service lifecycle manager. Yelitza Rojas, which is our second expert, today work as part of our portfolio consultant team in the Electrification and Automation Global Business Unit in the Smart Infrastructure Headquarters here in Nuremberg also. She holds an electrical engineer degree for the National University in Bogota, Colombia, and received her MBA degree in 2010. Yelitza has more than 25 years experience in protection and automation systems, from design, testing, commissioning, to introducing new products and new technologies worldwide into the market. SIPROTEC Digital Twin, SIPROTEC Universal Relay Platform are among those technologies. Please note that since you cannot ask your question directly while those experts are presenting, we invite you to type your question during the presentation in the question box or also in the chat. And then we will address them, after the presentation in the Q&A session. Now, let's go to the agenda. The agenda today will be touching several aspects related to the migration of SIPROTEC 4 technologies, taking into consideration the capabilities of our latest technology in protection, the SIPROTEC 5. Also, we will highlight some of the key elements and tools that we recommend as part of your future-proof protection and automation systems, which include cybersecurity aspects, a relay selector to make things easier, relay configurators, cloud-based applications, and all those built-in features that will help you to perform your next protection platform migration or retrofit very well. Now, before going into the body of this webinar, I would like to have a quick recap of our previous webinars from this series. And for that, I would like to start once again with this picture. Do you have active security patch support for the devices in your OT deployment? Remember that if your answer is yes, this is great. You have the awareness and measures in place to address cyber-related issues. But if that's not the case, there are products in your OT deployment that are already or going to be out of support concerning cybersecurity patches. What do you do then? The next question should be, can we retrofit, migrate, some of those things to make it actually cyber secure? For sure, yes. If this is the first time you're joining one of our webinars from this series, I would like to encourage you to also watching the following webinars on demand. The first one was about managing vulnerabilities in energy automation, with an introductory and hands-on session on security patching. The second one I would recommend is about keeping your substation automation secure by migrating your installed SICAM AK3 to SICAM A8000. The third one, which is actually the previous one to this one, is about keeping your substation secure by migrating SIPROTEC 3 to SIPROTEC 4. And now we're having the SIPROTEC 4 to SIPROTEC 5. And finally, I would like to recommend you to have a look at the tutorial about cybersecurity for protection and substation automation engineers. Remember, you can find all the upcoming as well as the on-demand webinars by typing www.siemens.com in your internet browser, click on Product and Services, then you go to Energy, followed by clicking Energy Automation and Smart Grid, scroll down and go to webinars for energy automation and distribution system, and there you go. All the available on-demand and upcoming events are just right there. Now, next, let me very quickly make a recap about the development of the protection and substation automation system technologies. After the recap, you will watch the details about the migration concept, the configuration approach, and how to bridge the legacy technology with the newest one. So please stay tuned. So in our previous webinar of this series, we drove you through the development of the protection relaying technologies. We saw the first technologies, which were those electromechanical devices, which consist of a single protection function per device, and that typically are very demanding in terms of maintenance. We also talk about the solid-state relays, the statics, and resemble the big debates on moving from electromechanical technology to semiconductor-based, coils that had not moving parts. That was a good, big, I remember, decision at that time. Following with the history, we talk about the microprocessor-based digital relay. Today, numerical and multifunctional technologies are set as standards worldwide. And finally, we talk about how cloud computing is disrupting protection relaying with SIPROTEC Digital Twin, cloud-based applications like SIPROTEC Dashboard, SICAM Navigator, and how a clear and visible trend in virtualizations is on the making. Similarly, remarkable disruption has been experienced in the substation automation technologies. You remember the first generation that was standard cabling, big and complex electric panels, all hardwired, alarm panels that consist of light bulbs and labels or mimics. Many of those are still in operation. The second generation came in the 80s, right? Point-to-point connection, protection system talking to the automation system, implementation of the serial connection and protocols, partially hardwired IOs for data collection, and extended supervisory and control capabilities were available. The third generation, and we now, we need to locate ourselves in the 2000s. This is the digital substation bus. With a station bus based on IC 6150, we had less hardwiring and more leverage on communication capabilities, completely fully modular and flexible, multi-vendor interoperability, easily integrated in a SCADA system, and so on. And now we're talking about the digital substation 4.0, where process bus, cloud computing, and IoT connectivity is just part of the complete solution. So in addition to the station bus based on IC 6150, we have also process bus, right? That is based on IC 6150-9-2, edge computing and cloud connectivity, cloud applications, digital twin, and analytics. Look, the protection and automation technologies have experienced disruption all over the history, and the hardware and software utilized for such solutions must be kept up to date in order to tackle the challenges of today's networks and the new realities. Which is why I would like also to finalize this recap with what a typical product life cycle and its milestone looks like. So in the context of product life cycles, I would like to give you an overview of the relation between milestone of a product life cycle and the availability of component and security patch support. So let's say you have at your facility some of those first delivered numerical and multifunctional SIPROTEC relays. The end of the general availability of those devices come with what is called the phase-out announcement. That means that a product or component still can be ordered, normally for 2 additional years, but only for extension or replacement in running projects. For new projects, we always recommend the newest technology successors. And we're talking, that easy for you, as we have also available an online application called the Easy Relay Retrofit Selector, so you can see what is the next technology that we recommend. After the typical 2 years extended availability comes a product cancellation milestone. After this date, you can no longer order the components, and the software update support, including the active security patch support, also comes to an end. This is important. Continuing with this example, if we have, for example, one of the earliest SIPROTEC 4 devices, which were manufactured in 1998, and the product has been canceled, it is advisable to migrate to the newest technological successor. Repair and or spare part services for defective hardware components is granted for 10 years after the phase-out announcement. A certain number of components are kept available in stock for the spare parts devices. Once this stock is empty, only repair of the hardware is possible. Now, that's all from my side. Yalitza will now come in and enlighten us with additional information regarding the drivers for migrating an existing protection relaying devices and system, as well as she will speak about the one-fit-for-all SIPROTEC solution to a smart transitioning your current legacy and obsolete devices and systems. So, Yalitza, welcome, and my pleasure having you here.
Thank you, Luis.
Here you go.
So, Luis talked already about cybersecurity and life cycle of the devices as the major drivers to start a migration plan. However, there can be other specific needs in your stations. More flexible communication possibilities to prepare, for example, a substation controller upgrade where the protection devices ideally support both the current serial communication protocol and the foreseen IEC 61850. The optimization of the operation by digital testing of devices and faster fault analysis, both supported by the SIPROTEC digital twin, and to take advantage of what your device already knows with the SIPROTEC dashboard. Or to be able to use the state-of-the-art technologies as process bus and universal relays. Whatever the motivation is, the answer is SIPROTEC 5. What you get with a SIPROTEC 5 device is modular hardware, expandable to up to 2 19-inch rack. There is the basic module, plus up to 9 expansion modules, which you can use for analog inputs, binary inputs and outputs, arc sensors, and much more. Regarding the mounting possibilities, you receive the detachable display option, as well as the other in SIPROTEC 4 known flash and surface variants. You get flexibility in functionality as well, which allows you to customize your configuration to the specific requirements of your application. You can run several communication protocols simultaneously, and in some cases, even using the same communication interface. And all these enjoying the highest cybersecurity features and standards. On the other side, the SIPROTEC 5 platform also brings an object-oriented functional structure. In it, the function groups represent the elements to be protected, such as motor or line, and the primary switching devices, such as circuit breakers or disconnectors. Inside a defined function group, all the corresponding protection functions required in the applications are allocated. And each protection function can have one or several stages. The measuring points represent the current and voltage transformers for either 3-phase or 1-phase measurements. And those measuring points can be assigned to one or several function groups to replicate exactly the same constellation that you have in your system. Moreover, the circuit breakers can be freely assigned to one or more function groups. And for each specific protection function can be defined which circuit breaker is to be activated, or known in case a function is meant only for monitoring. This object-oriented structure allows, for example, the use of several current and voltage terminals in a protection function, which grants an effective solution for circuit breaker and a half scheme, and the independent protection of several bays in a single SIPROTEC 5 device. Finally, the SIPROTEC 5 family supports a higher sampling rate, which enables new and more effective algorithms. As a result of the new structure and capabilities, the SIPROTEC 5 devices offer improvements in the algorithms inherited from SIPROTEC 4 and completely new algorithms and protection functions for ground fault detection, thermal protection, distance, motor, differential, capacitor banks protection, as well as control functionality as automatic voltage regulator and point of wave, just to mention some. Now, even with all this flexibility, the parameterization of a device can be done very quickly thanks to the application templates available in the DXY5 library and the possibility of saving your own completed configuration as a user application template. So you need a minimal effort to add a device in your next project. That means reduce engineering efforts, perfectly customized solutions, flexibility throughout the complete product life cycle, and availability of your own application templates library. Let's see a compendium of the typified devices available for the different applications. In the denomination, the first 3 characters correspond to the device's main functionality, and it is the same as in SIPROTEC 4. For example, 7SA for distance protection or 7SJ for overcurrent. However, in SIPROTEC 5, you will find additional type of devices, such as the 7SL for line differential and distance protection, or the 6MU for the merging unit. In the 4th position of the denomination, there is an 8, which represents the SIPROTEC 5 family. And after, you will find either 2, 4, 5, 6, or 7. The 2 represents the non-modular devices. The 7 is for the modular devices with 1 pole trip, while 4, 5, and 6 are used for modular devices with 3 pole trip with a specific special features each. Recently, we have introduced a full spectrum of universal devices. The SIPROTEC 5 Compact 7SX800, the non-modular device for conventional instrument transformer 7SX82, the 7SY82 for low-power instrument transformers, and the modular device 7SX85. With the universal devices, you select the hardware and are free to convert this hardware in the exact protection device you need. For example, line protection, by selecting the individual desired protection functions from the catalog during the configuration in DXY. It is even possible to combine functions from different type devices. Just make sure you add the required amount of function points to the device to cover the chosen functionality. To manage the function points, you will find a convenient online tool called the Function Point Manager. Whether you have already heard about the universal devices, you know they offer a lot of benefits during the complete life cycle. In the case of universal devices are news to you, then I invite you to check out our free webinars and tutorials for electrification and automation page. There you will find several interesting recordings in this regard. Additionally, we'll conduct in April a deep dive webinar about the SIPROTEC 5 Compact device. Maybe also interesting for you. As you see on the slide, the universal devices bring benefits in every stage of a project, and during a migration process, you will immediately profit from the customization by the user, the efficient parameterization process, the shorter development times, and the reduction of stock costs. In summary, when you decide to modernize your SIPROTEC 4 devices, you have several options inside the SIPROTEC 5 platform. When analyzing the requirements, remember to give a second check because there can be options as the number of binary inputs and outputs or some protection functions which are available in the existing device but that you don't necessarily use. With SIPROTEC 5, you can perfectly tailor fit the device to your application. Let's take a 7SJ641 device, as Tita will use it later to show you the configuration process in the migration path. This device has 15 binary inputs and 13 binary outputs, and its main functionality is overcurrent protection. Therefore, we could use as successor a universal device 7SX82 or 7SX85, or one of the typified devices 7SJ82, 7SJ85, or 7SJ86. For the first rough selection, we can make beneficial use of the easy SIPROTEC retrofit selector.
Tool for retrofits help us to find the devices that can fit best a successor of the current existing device, either from Siemens or other manufacturers. In our example, we select Siemens as manufacturing company and type 7SJ64 in the box for the product code. As a result, we get the SIPROTEC 7SJ85 and 7SJ82 recommended.
Of using either 7SJ85 or 7SJ82. Please consider that the selector still doesn't contain the universal devices, but as seen before, they are always an exceptionally suitable alternative. So now that we know the options that we have, then let's take a closer look of the features we must consider. With the help of DC4, we can check first the major features given by the MLFB or reference of the device. After, we take care of the physical characteristics such as display size and operation keys. And then, in detail, the number of inputs and outputs and protection and control functions. We evaluate which of those features are really used and must be included in the new device, and which are not necessary anymore. In our case, considering the functionality and inputs and outputs, we could go for a 7SX82 universal device. But if the physical keys for operation mode and interlockings are mandatory, then we shall move to a 7SX85. And it is the assumption that we did for our example. Therefore, we'll use a 7SX85 to replace the existing 7SJ641 device. Remember, the 7SX85 is a universal protection and could be equipped not only with the functionalities we show you in this example, but also with most of the protection functions that you could need. It is perfectly prepared for upcoming changes in your network, allowing the implementation of distance or differential protection within minutes. Moreover, using the same hardware for different bays enables you to optimize your stock needs. And from the version 940 and on, you can use the 7SX85 for one-pole trip applications as well. In the next step, we can make use of the SIPROTEC 5 configurator to define the specific hardware to be used and the required amount of function points. Remember to include all the functionality you are looking for with the migration. And also check if you want to take advantage of new features which are useful and can be easily added in the device, such as circuit breaker monitoring, power quality, or automatic voltage regulation, just to mention some. With the SIPROTEC 5 devices, you have two options when it comes to functionality. First, you can calculate the required functions point with the function points calculator and order the device with the defined amount of function points. Or you select the classless option and download from the online function point manager at a later stage the exact amount of function points given by the configuration in Dixie. With this said, I want to thank you for your attention and invite Dita to the stage to continue with the migration concept. Please.
Thank you, Jelitza, for your interesting presentation. So, before we start, some explanation. HITECNSOL plugin is a support tool which enables device settings in a convenient manner. The data format TIAX, Totally Integrated Energy Automation Exchange, is used for data transfer for import and export between HITEC5 and HITECNSOL. With the support of the retrofit device selector, we selected the new SIPROTEC 5 device. With the HITEC5 configurator, we create the order number. Then, with HITEC4, we prepare the information of the device configuration. We analyze the device characteristics. Based on the result, we configure the new 7SX85. With the HITECNSOL plugin, we edit the settings. Then we do the CFC adjustments, make modifications in display pages, editing the signal routing, make protocol communication mapping. Final works, we do some final work, for example, setting of the time synchronization. And we make pre-testing with digital twin to be ready for commissioning. The migration step 1, selection of appropriate device, and 2, configuration with the SIPROTEC device. Configurator has been presented previously by Jelitza. As basis for further action, we consider a SIPROTEC 4 device, 7SG641, that is installed in the 8PK20 medium switchgear panel with switch track technology. So now we see the video for configuration. Migration step. In the next step, we will prepare the configuration information of the 7. So, sorry, but we have some small technical problems, but I think it's solved in a few seconds. We will prepare the configuration information of the 7SG. In the next step, we will prepare the configuration information of the 7SG641. To do this, we open the device with Open Project. And then we export and select configuration and protection parameters. Then we select CSV file and store it. As a result, we get a corresponding CSV file. This CSV file can be converted to an Excel file for further viewing. Migration step 4, analyzing of the 7SG641 configuration. We open the converted file. The following information from the Excel file is of interest for the SIPROTEC 5 configuration in DIXI 5. This is a device configuration, the masking I/O of binary inputs, binary outputs, and LEDs. The masking I/O interface for IEC 60870-5-103 protocol, source and destination. The power system data 1, which contains the CD and VD ratio and CD and VD connection properties. The setting group A, which contains the setting parameters of the function activated in the 7SG641 device. Migration step 5, configuration of an adequate device. The data exchange format TX was developed to make the parameter input of DIXI 5 clearer and more manageable. This assumes that the new SIPROTEC device has the same functional properties. At the beginning in DIXI 5, we add a new device. We insert the long product code. Application templates contains the basic configurations, required functions, and default settings. The templates provide only an absolute basic device configuration, which is not suitable for an application. They serve only as a starting point for a specific application configuration. For our purpose, we select the application template universal for current for voltage. After the device generation, under settings, we adapt the functional structure to the primary components of the 20 kV outgoing field. The pre-configured function group type voltage current 3-phase is suitable for use in our 20 kV bay. In the voltage current phase protection group, you can use all the functions for protection and supervision of a protected object or equipment that allows 3-phase current and voltage measurement. The function group also contains the operational measurement for the protected object or equipment. Next, we check whether the protection functions embedded in the function group meet our requirements. Superfluous function can be removed and missing functions can be added from the global library. In our case, the directional overcurrent functions 67 and 67 neutral can be deleted, which saves function points. The missing function overvoltage protection are added from the DIXI 5 global library via drag and drop. Next, we look at the circuit breaker function group. We must add the missing function trip supervision with 2 binary inputs from the global function library. The pre-configured disconnector 1 and 2 are controllable 1. In our case, we need only the status information. Therefore, we exchange it with the switching device's disconnector status only. For a better understanding, we rename the name of the circuit breaker and switching devices. Circuit breaker 1 in circuit breaker Q0, disconnector status 1 in switch track Q1, and disconnect the status 2 in earthing switch Q8. This will change the switching devices from control level to status 1. We must adjust the pre-configured interlocking conditions. The switch track Q1 and earthing switch Q8 are not controllable. We can delete the logic blocks for their interlocking conditions. And for the circuit breaker, we make a new signal connection. Now we have prepared the 7SX85 protection device so that the range of function corresponds to that of the 7SG641 device. Migration step 6, setting data transfer with support of the TIAX data exchange format and HITECNSOL plugin. Before we export the TIAX file of the 7SX85, some values must be set in advance. In the power system group, under measuring point current, the rated primary current. In measuring point voltage, the rated primary voltage. In the protection group, voltage current 3-phase, under general, the object rated current and rated voltage. In the circuit breaker group, under general, the reference for percent values. After doing this, we are ready to export the TIAX file. Select Export Setting Values Secondary and press Export. This file will be imported in the HITECNSOL plugin. Therefore, we open an empty Excel file, select HITECNSOL, press Import from TIAX file, and select our TIAX file. Here you can see the clear representation of the setting parameters. The values can be set in the yellow cells of column L. As base for the setting value, we can use the exported parameters from the 7SG641. See Migration Step 3. The setting takeover of the normal overcurrent function should not be a problem, but protection setting should be handled very carefully. Due to the technical progress and the further development of the protection algorithms, some of the setting values can no longer take over directly. Therefore, Siemens recommends observing the protective function and the setting instruction in the manuals. After you have finished the parameter setting, you can export the edited file with the export to TIAX. And import this file in your HITECNSOL project. Migration Step 7. Automation and adjustment of CFC. Each application template generates at least the following 3 CFC charts. The CFC chart group warning belongs to the alarm handling of the SIPROTEC 5 device. The signals are pre-configured based on the application template. After every change in the function groups, you should check this chart. The CFC chart interlocking contains the pre-configured basic interlocking conditions of the circuit breaker and switching devices. The chart can be easily adjusted to the required interlocking conditions. The CFC chart process mode inactive is also part of the warning and alarm handling of the device and should be not changed or deleted. DIXI4 CFC charts can be converted to 65 using the export and import function. Please note that the CFC in DIXI5 is significantly more powerful and not 100% compatible with the CFC in DIXI4. Migration step 8, modification of display pages. The pre-configured display page does not match the primary base single line because in the 8BK20 switchgear bay, the line earthing will not be realized with the circuit breaker on position, but directly on the cable. So we recommend using an adequate display page, like the following example. The device display pages can be imported and exported with the star.dsb5 file format. Migration step 9, signal routing. Finalize the signal routing of binary inputs, binary outputs, and LEDs with the information routing editor. We recommend connecting the trip command to a fast relay. The information of the binary outputs, contacts, fast or standard, you can get via selecting hardware and protocols. Migration step 10, communication protocol mapping. At first, we assign the protocol ESC 60870-5-103 to the installed communication module. Then under mapping, we select the universal for E for V. Then you open communication mapping and select EEC 6870-5-103 protocol. With the communication mapping editor, you can adjust the pre-configured mapping. Migration step 11, final works. To finalize the configuration, you must do some additional works. This can be the setting of the time synchronization, the setting of the response thresholds when using the trip circuit supervision function, and so on. One more point is worth mentioning. Checking the actual function point consumption to save costs. Migration step 12. Siemens recommends using the SIPROTEC digital twin for pre-test the device function to reduce the commissioning time. Now we are finished with the video and we're coming to the recap of communication development. We can observe following trends: more powerful communication modules with greater flexibility, trend towards Ethernet communication. IEC 61850 is increasingly becoming an international standard more and more. The big advantage of the IEC 61850 is the separation of the communication structure from the physical transmission layer. This makes it possible to quickly switch to new, more powerful transmission technology. For example, from 100 megahertz to gigahertz transmission technology. Process bus is also based on the IEC 61850 standard. By increasing the performance of the communication modules, even more additional applications can be integrated into the platform and systems. And all is TLS protected. Then we're coming to the cybersecurity. Thinking about benefits, it is then necessary to refresh quickly some of the built-in security by design features embedded in our SIPROTEC 5 platform. Because when we talk about cybersecurity strengths, we must think about our SIPROTEC 5 platform. Look in a nutshell. Future readiness. The SIPROTEC 5 platform is ready for public key infrastructure with a built-in crypto chip. Also, the modularity of the platform gives you the flexibility to require tomorrow. Operational security, digital signed software and firmware, also with the Siemens product cert, it is possible to handle vulnerabilities along the life cycle. Compliant with BDEV white paper fulfills the recommendation for secure and reliable control and communication system. Role-based access control with central user management. With the role-based access control feature, you can centrally manage users and assign roles for authorization based on IEC 62351-8. Security monitoring. With this platform, you can centralize event logging and can monitor the installed base. Certificate management made easy with SICAM GridBus. Now you can manage digital certificates automatically to enable effective and efficient management of security control costs. And last but not least, TLS encryption. The platform also supports TLS encryption by using certificates based on according IEC 62351-3 for IEC protocols. Now, I would like Luis to join me again. Hello, Luis.
Thank you, Dieter. Here we go with the laptop. Actually, I would like to use this opportunity to thank you both, Dieter and Yelisa, for sharing with all of us some of the key elements and tools that we have recommended as part of any future-proof protection and automation system. As you saw, and here, let me go to the specifics. So, there are some aspects that is very important to keep into account whenever you're gonna migrate your install base. The first one is life cycle of the products, hardware and software. Have a look at it. I've been looking at your comments already, and for those, I would encourage you to get in contact with your local Siemens representative, or you can also type or let's say send an email to our customer service so you can get that information. The same, so cybersecurity aspects is getting more relevant as, as Dieter was mentioning. The network is changing. There's a clear trend in having more over IP protocols embedded in systems because of all the flexibility that it's bringing. Also, both Yelitsa and Dieter show that there's a, I would say, a wide range of tooling that are available, right, to facilitate both targeting, configuring, and also already doing the engineering and migrating your legacy technologies with the technological successors. And keep in mind, there's a lot of all those built-in features in our SIPROTEC 5 platform that will help you to easy your next protection platform migration or retrofit. All in all, if I want to talk about some takeaways, remember, operational security. So it is important for you to keep an eye that we are here to support you in the next migration. The next one is system security. All the cybersecurity elements that are embedded both in the products and in the systems is something that we comply with the latest standards about cybersecurity. Product security, this is cyber secure by design devices that is helping you to get the things right. Dieter was mentioning already, complying with standards like the 62351, 443, role-based accessibility, TLS, and anything that you need, this is already there. And last but not least, we are a trusted partner. We've been around for literally hundreds of years in protection relaying, and we are here to support and continue supporting you in the next migration or retrofit of your technology. So get in contact with us. And that said, I would like to start now the Q&A session. And for that, I would like to ask and invite Yelitza and Dieter to join me here on the stage. As I said before, I've been looking at those questions and also comments. And I would like to kick it off with one specific comment or question that came here. And I'm going to answer that myself. So why should I migrate to SIPROTEC 5? SIPROTEC 4 and 3 are still working fine. Look, this is true not only for you, but for a lot of users worldwide. So something that you need to keep in mind is that whenever you have a technology that has been operating for the last 20, 30 years, that shows how reliable and robust the technology that we offer to you it is. When we talk about migrating your system, and actually Yelitza gave a very detailed, let's say, briefly, what are the main drivers? What we see happening, what is on the making in the energy transition, and this is why we're telling you, have a look at this technology. We see more distributed generation. The network is changing tremendously. We see that there's less mass in the network and more rotating masses that are smaller, so there's less inertia. We see that there's more power electronics getting integrated in the system. We see that it's more and more loaded, the distribution networks. We see that it is important right now to get an eye on cybersecurity elements. So there's a lot of things happening that are changing the network. So you need to think already on migrating your technologies so you can address those challenges with the right functionalities, with the right algorithms, and with the right flexibility that you need to keep changing your system as the whole network continues changing. So that's as a kickoff. There's many other questions, and there's one that I would like to listen either Yelitza or Dieter. This one is a statement. They said, hey, engineering efforts for selection, engineering and programming SIPROTEC 5 devices are high compared to SIPROTEC 4 devices. I believe that it says here. Do you have any comment on it? Why somebody have that impression?
Yeah, that's a good, I would say that's a good question. And I think it's also valid to say that, because when you have more possibilities, when you have a lot of new capabilities, it seems, I guess, at the beginning, that is different, that is difficult, that is more complicated to follow the steps to complete the configuration. And I can feel it as well. But if you take advantage of the tools or the help that is given by the software, for example, with the application templates, with the favorite settings and so on, also with the change format, then you will get an easy way to deal with the configuration, and you will notice that it is not that difficult at all, But I think it's valid. And my invitation is just make use of all the tools or the facilities you have in Dixie, and you will see that it's really, not so complicated, and you can do it faster, I would say, than in the past.
Perfect. Dieter, do you have any comment on it?
Yes. The SIPROTEC 65 is an twin from the subs for the primary technique. Yeah, you have integrated your measuring points, your CT, your VT. You can assign the circuit breaker. You can assign the protection functional groups. Yeah, it is different if you have a line, if you have a transformer. Yeah, you have always the primary technique. You have to have the relation, and this helps you to have better understanding.
Perfect.
Yeah. And I also, I mean, you touched a point that makes me remind, it is that you have also in DC both possibilities. You have the easier possibility where you can use all the help that you have, or if you really want to start from scratch and you want to do it by yourself and you want to select exactly every single detail, every single protection function, every single connection, you can also do it.
Yes.
So you have this flexibility. You can do it as easier as possible, or you can just do it as for yourself as you want it.
Perfect. I mean, if I may add some words also, and I think that you both touched it, is when you have more flexibility, that's exactly what you said. There's many other layers that you need to touch. Definitely having drag and drop functionality, it makes things easier. Having, predetermined or favorites, setting groups, setting points, that make things easier. And having the possibility, Dieter was mentioning, to literally mirror what is in the primary, that makes life easy. So you can standardize. I mean, all those protection functions are standardized. And whenever you are thinking, long-term, the first one would be, in everything that we do. I mean, as I recall, when I was learning in any subject, the first one tend to be more difficult, but as you repeat and repeat and repeat, you will see how easy it is just to move things from here and there and how to better actually address those things.
And you can reuse.
And you can reuse, imagine. I mean, it's just very, very convenient. The next one, I think someone is already doing some migrations here, because they say, okay, I have a COM module with 2 channels. Can I use one channel as protective interface and the other for a zero protocol? Who wants to address that one?
Yes.
Yeah, Dieter, please.
We can do. We have to talk about the flexibility, and if we have hardware with 2 channels, we can assign for every channel a separate protocol. What we have in our SIPROTEC 5.
Okay.
And that constellation is a really typical one. So you have one for the protection functionality and the other one for the communication. Yes.
Perfect. And I would like, thank you both for the comments. I would like also to take that question and to take it to another one that is related to cybersecurity. They said, what cybersecurity measures can be deployed if 61F50 standard was used to communication between IEDs in a substation and outside external customer, renewable generation IEDs? Kindly provide example of some case studies. Thanks. Look, I mean, when we talk about, and this is the cybersecurity, one of the things that you're going to receive right now as part of the deliverable that you will download is a white paper about cybersecurity and networking, and to have dedicated networks, whether it is virtually or physically. It's just part of the elements that you need to use to comply. Now, to your specific question, so what are those standards? I mean, complying, as mentioned by Dieter, with IEC 64351 and 62443, and also, we have the complete way on how to put together a substation, a secure substation automation. There's a blueprint that we have developed, and you have access to have a look at it, whether it is from the products and elements that are within that network, and also on the operation of that complete network. So to give you a specific, I don't know exactly, the type of redundancies that you have in there, the type of switches, routers, if you have a demilitarized zone, or I don't know, or we don't know, none of those, but we will welcome, having that open discussion with you and engage also some of our experts to address that specific question and concern. Let me go to another question. I know that we are a little bit on time right now, but there's many questions, and I would like to address, let me see, some of them. Oh, look at this. This one is good. So if we talk about universal devices, why do we have 4 different versions? That may be a colleague.
Yeah, it can be. But it is also a really good question. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And for sure, we could say, okay, if we have only one device, then we could cover all the functionality. That's also true. But for having that, then we will have to select the device with the highest capabilities. And this is not necessarily the best fit for small applications. That's why we decided to have universal devices for those specific type of applications. So we have the small one in the compact, and then the non-modular with the 7SX82. We are really proud also of having the low power instrument transformers now, and the more flexible and more modular device, meaning hardware to be expandable with the 7SX85. So that's the reason, just to have, the right device also for the size and for the complexity of the application. Okay,
perfect. Thank you, Yelitza, and great question. I have another question that I think that fit very well with the webinar of today. It is related to the file, and they mentioned that the file of configuration inside SIPROTEC 4 can be loaded in SIPROTEC 5 without any problem.
No.
Who wants to?
No. Therefore, we have do this. This webinar, we do step by step, but we will develop now a migration tool that supports more for this task.
Okay.
One click.
For us, we have to wait a little more, but it's under construction, and I see it will work fine in the next.
Okay. Thank you for the answer. So, you cannot upload your DEX file from SIPROTEC 4 into the SIPROTEC 5. And that's it. Please have a look at that migration concept that we have created for you. So you see a step-by-step what is our recommendation on migrating your SIPROTEC 4 platform to the newest and latest SIPROTEC 5 platform. I see a lot of comments. I have a question. Let's take a couple of more, and then we can call it. This one is more, it says, can a station and process bus be on the same interface?
I can take that one.
Yes. Yelitza, please.
The answer is yes, of course, it can be. The point is how complex your system is, And depending on the complexity, if you have small systems, then it is easier to have both networks running simultaneously. But if you have really big systems where you want to use, lot of sample measure values and also to direct information from different voltage levels and so on. So I guess the best practice would be having these 2 networks separated. The point is also that there is a special knowledge that needs to be developed in the people configuring and dealing with this type of networks. And if you go from 0 to 100, just mixing up everything, then it will be a lot more complicated to deal with this. Okay. Yeah. If you continue working with that and you get the skills, then it's going to be also for you as operation engineer, let's say, to deal with these networking topics. And on that regard, then maybe at a later stage, that could be also done. Physically it can be done, but we also need to consider how the user is going to face this challenge. And that's why I still recommend separating both.
Separate, of course. Thank you, Yelitza, and that's a great comment. I mean, I think that the questions that we're receiving are very, well-rounded with what has been presented, both by, I mean, in some of this or in the most of the webinars, is that trend in virtualization. That trend on more leverage and communication. And I would like to close it with a question that, although it's general, it is appropriate to address, which is there any face-to-face training provided by Siemens on SIPROTEC 5 protection, control, and cybersecurity? And the answer, of course, is yes. I mean, we have our Power Academy, where you have a complete catalog with all the trainings that are available for you to attend or your company and to have a look at it. We can tailor also the content based on your specific needs. And we can do it also both virtually face-to-face. You can use actually the digital twin also as part of that. So you see that how you can leverage on the technology is important to facilitate as many of your users to use the technology, okay? So I would like to call it. We have a lot more of questions. And for that, I would like to thank you, all of you, right? Thank you for all those questions. And thank you, Yelitza and Dieter, for being with us in this webinar and providing your answers. For the questions that are not answered right now, you will receive them in the email that you used actually to log in, right, when you sign up for this webinar. And remember that you will have access to this recording, just right after it's finished, so in a few minutes. We also appreciate you giving us feedback. So, hey, that's all that we have prepared for today's webinar on how to keep your substation secure by migrating and or retrofitting your protection relays, this time from SIPROTEC 4 to SIPROTEC 5. Thank you very much for having us, and see you soon.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.